Okie dokie.
Ah. Uh, 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 all right. Wait. Okay.
All right, so I got James Earl Jones
Mm.
stuff. Um, and that second link is your link, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, I don't know what you're talking about. Wait.
Under the website, under the welcome.
Oh yeah, that's just the Zoom link.
Okay.
Let me get it out of here.
Let me- Oh, you watched The Boy and the Heron. Okay, okay.
Well, I started watching it. I'm not
I
done.
started watching. Well, I'm not doing my movie either. So, all right. Whenever you are ready.
Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the 16 millimeter film crew. I'm Cindy.
And I'm Dale.
You can watch us on YouTube. You can like and comment on our YouTube videos and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can listen to us everywhere podcasts are found at 16 millimeter film crew podcast. And you can visit us on our website at www.16millimeterfilmcrew.com. This week, we watched Alien Romulus, directed by Fede Alvarez. Here's your synopsis. Space colonizers come face to face with the most terrifying life form in the universe while scavenging the deep ends of a derelict space station. This cast involves Kaylee Spaney, David Johnson, Archie Renault, Isabel Merced, Spike Fern, and Aileen Wu. So, Dale, thoughts, feelings?
I'll be honest, like this is like my first foray into like the Alien franchise. Sounds weird, I know. I haven't really spent time watching the movies. Um, beyond cursory knowledge from the first two films, it's starring Sigourney Weaver. Um, but knowing what I know about the franchise and um, this movie felt like very not teen drama-y, but teen drama horror-y. I guess 'cause that's based on the cast. I don't know. I thought it was really engaging, really exciting. Of course, David Johnson. People. I'm glad his name is getting prominence between this movie and Ryan Lane, amazingly talented actor in the UK. Like I feel like I have like issues and concerns with his character. But beyond that, I love the movie. I enjoyed my time watching it. And like it was like the movie's like 2 hours, but it didn't feel like I was spending 2 hours in the movie theater watching this movie, which is I think is something if you're gonna make a longer movie to make it engaging, where audience feels like time flies by because they're so drawn into what's happening.
Yeah, agreed. I really did like this movie, which the Aliens franchise is like obviously people have issues with it. I watched the first one, love the first one. I haven't seen the second one, but I have seen Alien Covenant and Alien or not, it's not Alien Prometheus, but it's Prometheus, which is like maybe I want to say a prequel. Is it a prequel? What
I,
is Prometheus?
Prometheus? I think
Because it's
Prometheus is
not.
the prequel. I don't know.
Oh yeah, so it's the prequel. Covenant is a sequel. And then I guess all of like Alien, this movie, all this kind of happens in like one stream. Like this movie takes place many years after the first one or the second one actually. But they're all like in the same universe, right? So and I loved Covenant and I love Prometheus. So, and people don't really like some of those films, but like that's okay.
Yeah.
I thought they're great. I think they're great movies. And like as a sci-fi nerd, I'm just like, yes, I'm eating it up. And this one, I was like, yes, I'm already invested in the franchise. I really thought that like Kaylee, David, like all of the young actors, they were really doing their thing in this.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed like the world that they set up, which is just like a terrible world, and they're just trying to get out of there. But because it's space travel, it takes so many years to get to a different planet. But this movie was really good to me. I also had issues with how David's character is portrayed
Mm-hmm.
because he's an android.
Mm-hmm.
And then that comes with a whole bunch of,
Mm-hmm.
other things. And we could,
Yeah.
well, then we'll talk about that. But like
Yeah.
overall, I thought like all of the scares and stuff, like those really tense moments, I felt that when I was watching it. Like I couldn't, like, when you forget to breathe because you're like so invested,
Yeah.
that's where I was doing during a lot of some of those sequences were really good. Um, I didn't love some of the callbacks to the other ones, like the old ones.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that the movie could kind of do without that. But in terms of like the action, the tension, the performances. I like that they use like actual prosthetics. Like they use instead of like just full CGI. I thought that was really good. I loved the body horror element. I thought that was really
Yeah.
cool and fun. Um, the cinematography looked fantastic. So like, and I really like the score as well. Like that added to like every scene. So honestly, this movie is really good. Like I understand if people have gripes with it because there's things to be like looking side-eyed towards, but overall, I did really enjoy this movie.
Yeah. Like I love the based on the cursory knowledge I have of the first one, like I when they got into the space station, I was like, oh, they was legitimately like, oh, it looks like the first one. It is not until I found out, oh, it actually is the one from the first one. I love the way the alien movies portray future technology. It's very tactile. Like you gotta touch knobs, you gotta turn stuff. Whereas, modern day interpretation of the future, everything is a sliding screen. Like they're really like and that's really Scott's thing. They did the same thing with Blade Runner. Like all the future tech seems grimy and gritty. Like humanity peaked so far and that was it. Like everything is it's futuristic, but it's run down like all shit. I love that kind of touch. I love the way that, like really Scott has an amazing way and this franchise in general has an amazing way of putting women in the forefront of their movies as action heroes and stars in general. I mean, you look at Alien versus Predator, like the first one, you had Sanaa Lathan in there, leading the movie. Of course, you've had Naomi Naomi Room plays Charlize Theron and Prometheus, Catherine Weatherson in Covenant. They've had a long line and long history of putting female stars first and foremost as their lead focal character, which I enjoy from this franchise because you don't get that a lot in Hollywood at all.
Yeah, and I think that I mean, instead of like I mean, apart from some of like the older
Yeah,
movies, I think Sigourney Weaver was like the first like female action hero. I mean, I could be wrong.
yeah,
I could be wrong.
yeah.
So if I'm wrong, excuse me,
I
but
mean,
like
I think originally Tom Skerritt, who's also in the first movie, was really supposed to be the lead character,
mm,
but they said the way they had written it means the gender
it was gender
of
fluid.
gender fluid. Anybody could
Yeah.
play anybody, and
Mm.
I think the reason why I read why Sigourney Weaver was cast was because I think the executives and producers heard Fox was going to debut more strong women content, and they wanted to jump ahead of the gun, and that's why they swapped Sigourney and Tom Skerritt's roles. So
Which was great. And this was like in the 70s.
yeah.
Like honestly iconic. Like she is forever iconic.
Yeah.
That's Sigourney Weaver, what a woman. But yeah, just like thinking about like what she started in that legacy of like a long line of, these empowered, really intelligent female characters who were able to like, lead box office movies. Like, these movies are like extremely successful. So like it is really cool to just see that kind of baton be passed on to Kaylee because I do feel like right now Kaylee's in her moment. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know, like she's doing some really, really cool stuff. And after seeing her in Civil War, especially, it's really cool to see her in this movie because it kind of seems like it's picking up from something that was already established, even though those movies are completely different. But,
Yeah.
she is really good in that genre. And I thought she was amazing in this. So, yeah, I just really enjoyed that because it's not what I like is that it's not really about like force feeding you the gender stuff. It's just more just like this is a woman and this is the situation she's in.
Yeah.
Like, and she's gonna handle it. And
Yeah.
that's it. And that's really it. So I thought that was really cool.
Like, I think the touchy subject now is like James Johnston, his portrayal and his casting as Andy. Um, Typically with sci-fi movies, if there's a black person, it's usually on like culture diverse, kind of things. It seems like the sci-fi black character has always been some kind of tick. To me, David Johnston's character came off as really as mentally disabled in that capacity, and I felt kind of odd about it. Is not it's like the second time I've seen it. I've realized that in the movie. Of course, I remember with Power Rangers. Billy the Black Ranger also was autistic and stuff. But I mean, if I had a nickel for every time I've seen a black lead character being portrayed as autistic in a sci-fi ass movie, I'd have two nickels. It's not common, but it's something that uh was really triggering. And, the fact that once he gained autonomy and was speaking for himself, which is very noticeable if you're a black person, once you're in a room full of white people and you're really vocal about your opinions, you get kind of like discredited or discarded, and everybody's just grown to like once he got the AI upgrade and he was fully independent, they were like, basically, what the fuck is wrong with you? And then after he got hurt, that independence and agency was removed from him, you know, like, and for me, I noticed that a lot as being a black man in this country, so
Yeah, I thought it was the tough thing is that he was so good in the role that
yes,
it sometimes it was kind of hard to watch what he was doing and also like all of the like underwritten whatever
subtext,
subtext that was
yeah,
going on at the same time. Because at first, because you're enjoying it because he is so good in the role, but it's also just like, why is it that the android is a black man? Like, why doesn't why is, this character basically just an empty vessel for other people to like plug in stuff to? And then like the first part where he is like, it seems like he is maybe mentally challenged was really weird. But then the second part, when he does get the upgrade, it was like everyone was looking at him like he was a monster
yeah,
because technically, like the person who was taking over his brain was completely unconcerned about, the humans
yeah,
there. So it felt weird, for sure. I did not like that. And I
yeah,
definitely noticed it.
yeah,
It was like hard not to notice. But again, he was so good in it that it was just like, I don't know how to feel,
yeah,
you know?
yeah,
So I don't know.
yeah. I mean,
It's
look,
complicated.
it's complicated, and for anybody listening who concerns, like, oh, why are you bringing race into it? Like, we're black, like, race and
It's
politics
gonna be in it.
affect our daily lives, no matter what. So when we see stuff like that, we are also going to react to what we are seeing on the screen. Um,
Especially because, the one character who you said was the fake Andrew Garfield, he he was being super antagonistic to him
yeah,
the entire time. And
yeah,
so you're like, you know what I'm saying? Like there are certain things like if you are a part of a certain race or culture, like you're just gonna pick up on it because you can see those tensions and those
mm,
lines being drawn and it's harkening back to something.
yeah,
Like even though he might not be recognized for his blackness, he's recognized for his otherness because he isn't a human.
yeah,
So you're automatically othering the
yeah,
actor and the character that is being played. Like
yeah.
you can't ignore it.
And that's also a prevalent sci-fi trope,
It definitely is.
involving AI and androids. Remember in iRobot, they're designed to protect humans and stuff like that. But if it's basically it's start like I don't know where this quote's from. I remember it from Star Trek, Captain Kirk saying
Mhm.
the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, and that's kind of how the robots function. And it makes sense in a Unitarian society where okay, if 100 people are die, but I can save them if these five people aren't here. It sounds weird to say and calculating cold, but if I don't do anything, everybody dies. You know, that kind of thing. And it's a very common sci-fi trope where they have to deal or wrestle with that, especially with when in regards to AI and robots. So
Yeah, I'm glad that at least at the end he still survives. If I watched it a few weeks ago, so I'm trying to remember. Yeah, he
yeah,
survives, right?
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
no,
okay.
he gets slashed by the
No?
offspring, and his like robotic fluid, I guess, is leaking
Hmm.
from his neck. But it's obvious that he'll survive because Rook from the first movie is like slashed in half, and he's still functional. So
Yes, that's true. I think she like plugged him into one of those things. So like when they're
like the
when they're
mainframe of the space station or whatever.
yeah, no, I mean David's character, like
Yeah.
Andy, he like they're on their way to the new planet, even though they were like, oh, androids aren't allowed to go on the new planet. She was like, well, you're coming anyways. So like at least that he made it, you know?
Potentially.
Because usually, yeah, I mean, we don't know. Well, I guess we do know because this is like in between two films that have already come out.
Yeah, this is
I guess,
between one and two.
yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe we don't see it, but like,
Yeah.
something happens. Either way, I had complicated feelings about it, but I still enjoyed his performance so much because to actually play that, like it's the same thing like when Alicia Vikander played was it Ava in oh God, it's all going from my mind now. Nope, it's
Nope.
not there.
Well, you can still refer to the movie even though you don't remember.
Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? No, I feel so stupid. It's one of my favorite movies. Okay. But in that movie, she also plays an android, a robot. She plays AI, same thing, but like, it's actually really hard to like act in a way that is inhuman because acting is all about like expressiveness, or I mean, it could be about stillness too, but
Mhm.
you know, trying to play someone that's not human is, I'm sure, really difficult. So like the fact that he was able to do it and kind of bring nuance to it and make Andy like pretty human, even though he's not supposed to be. Like I thought that was good. I thought he did a great job. It's just I don't know. I kind of just wish he wasn't playing that part.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how
Yeah.
I feel about it.
Yeah. Not and they
Ex
also
Machina. There we go. That's the movie. Sorry.
it took you a while. You
Was
got
not
there
going to
though.
leave
You,
my
you
brain.
got
Thank
there
you.
though. You got there though. Like and I love like the visual effects of the movie as far as the especially the offspring behind the scenes
Ooh,
footage reveal that like there wasn't CGI, that was like literally somebody like in a suit doing all that, very body horror. I was like, oh yeah.
it was so and I'm not a horror girly, but like I will deal with gore. I'll deal with body horror. Like that's the kind of the only thing I can really deal with.
Hmm.
And that and they allude to some of it in the trailer, but to see the full scene of like the alien baby like trying to burst out of this woman's chest, like and you can and all the sound effects and everything, like it was just so good. It really did feel like watching the first one, which I
Hmm.
think is great because like the tone of that movie is so key to like why it was so successful, I think. And the fact that they kept that tone and they kept the entire vibe of the of that setting and that environment just made it like so good to watch because now you have the technology to do more.
Yeah.
But the fact that they kept, they did stick with like doing practical effects, I think that that was such a good place because a lot of times in most of these movies, like it's mostly computer generated and it
Hmm.
looks like it and it doesn't look really good.
Yeah.
So I think doing the old techniques and stuff, mixing it in with the newer technology, you got a good thing on your hands. Like I just feel like it's just so visually appealing to look at versus just like being flat and boring.
Yeah. And I like also like I like when movies like I've spoken before about my disappointment in Star Wars and what they do as far as, CGIing Mark Hamill and stuff, or, the actress who played um playing Carrie Fisher as,
Hmm.
younger in the other and Rogue One. Um but I love like with this movie though, they got permission from Ian Holm, who played Ash in the first movie, who is the AI done. And it looked very, very well. Um, I have no issues if, studios have recurring characters that have long since passed, as long as it's done well, not like what DC did with Christopher Reeves in The Flash. That looked horrible. And I don't think it was done without a family permission, but if it's done well and it's in it and the characters there it aid to the story, I'm okay with it. Like, but first and foremost, you have to have the estate's permission to do that.
Yeah. And that's the thing, because like a lot of these big movies are sequels, prequels, like they're all part of the same franchise. So
Mhm.
I think the desire to incorporate older characters into the movies is like a thing that we're seeing everywhere. It's even in House of the Dragon. Like the nostalgia of certain things is so um what is it? Like, you're able to like monetize that so
Yeah,
well. Like people are just gonna do it for the do it for the memories.
yeah,
Like, and I don't know how I feel about it because sometimes I just kind of feel like something should just stand on its own. Like it should just be its own thing.
yeah,
But I think in this instance, because it's taking place in between two movies, like it kind of makes sense. So I actually don't have an issue
yeah,
with that. The issue that I had with it in terms of like the nostalgia bait was when she like says that line, "Get away from her, you bit." Like
yeah,
that is obviously an iconic line that Sigourney Weaver delivers, and I
yeah.
think the second Aliens.
With
So it's
new, yeah,
like, did we really need? Sorry, she doesn't. Kaylee doesn't say it. David says it, but
yeah,
like. Did we need that? I didn't think that was cool. I'm just like, don't. That's what I'm saying when nostalgia goes too far. Like that,
yeah,
that
yeah,
to
yeah,
me
yeah.
feels like the studio interfered and gave a note and said, you have to say this. And I really wish they would just butt out.
What is that meme from online with Bart from The Simpsons? They're like, say the line, Bart, say it. You have to
Yeah,
say the line.
exactly.
So
It's like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
please don't do that. Just because it was good. Like it was good without, and also the nostalgia of it is like seeing the actual alien creature. Like they recreated the vibe and of the entire thing. They used the same space station. Like we are getting all of those vibes. Like you don't have to add in the lines for us to be like, yes, we know that this is attached to a franchise that's very famous. Like it just gave me the ick.
yeah. And it's not lost to me that, potentially the android is a black man. You have one white woman, you have one Asian woman, and one Latino woman, you know, as a cast, is what it is.
But
Like,
I
and
love that.
well, the Asian woman dies, the
Yeah,
Latino actress,
unfortunately, he is the only one who survives. But
yeah,
usually the black character gets killed off first.
yeah,
So, hey, this is them subverting expectations. They're like, you know what? He'll survive to the end.
yeah.
But yeah, anyways, what was some of your favorite scenes or sequences?
Me, honestly, legitimately, like watching after like my whole initial thing with David and that whole not David with Andy and him and the depiction I got from him in the open sequence and when they go into the cold storage room and you see the xenomorph stuff start to unthaw the moment he like reactivates and he grabs it over goes and I was like badass moment. I love
Love
that
that.
shit. I love the scene with of course Kaylee Spaney when both of them are can't get to the elevator and she just says fuck it. Anti-grav's like pop 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 pop. And it would have been cool if she could do it herself, but I love the fact in the world they didn't give her like there's a trend called Mary Sue. Like we saw that a lot come out with Ray from Star Wars Daily really kind of like, oh, she just knew how to fight with a lightsaber. Like,
Mm.
I'm glad they set the groundwork to avoid that kind of criticism. Her friend Stringer, they're into guns. He's into guns, and all the guns have auto fire, so that dissipates the initial blowback these fanboys get when women are somehow talented with stuff. And I would have loved it if she, got the agency herself, like once he told, like aim for her head, and it would also still fit because they're anti gravity. They're not coming fast, so she can still go take her time and go bam, bam. But I still love the fact that she's just like popping off and they're all dying.
Yeah, I liked that they set rules and then they stuck by the rules.
Yes,
That
yes,
that's good.
yeah.
That's it for me. Um and that like the what can be the alien strengths ends up being its weaknesses in some instances, like the fact that their acidy saliva or whatever, like how that was used against them. Um the third act was interesting, but wait, before I get there, let me just say what my favorite scene was, because that's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Um, the scene when they have to kind of lower their temperature in order to walk through that room undetected.
Hmm.
I was like, oh, okay. That was the scene where I was like, oh, I forgot to breathe. Because I was like, I don't think that this is gonna work. Like, how do you not be afraid in this moment? This is very scary. Like, I was like, I couldn't do it, but I loved that scene. That was so like classic. I don't know. It was just such a good like tension rising scene. Again, all the body horror stuff was really cool. When she gives
Hmm.
birth to the what is it, the new spawn, that
Hmm.
little gross man alien
They
baby
called it the
thingy.
offspring in credits.
Uh, Hated
Yeah.
that. That made me feel sick. But her giving birth to that was crazy. I was like, whoa. That's not okay. Like insane. Because she was already in the pod. And so she was just like going crazy in the pod. I was like, imagine you're trying to give birth and you're like in a very confining space. Like that is insane. So that was really good. Again, that time when David's character Andy has to reboot and he's like stuck in that position and they're all like trying to figure out like how are we gonna deal with this? Like I was just stressed out. I was stressed out, but I loved it. I loved being that stressed. And then towards the third act, so when I forgot what you called it already, the offspring.
Hmm.
Okay. When the offspring comes, I was like, what is it going to take to kill this thing?
Yeah.
Because it felt like once she kind of opened that hatch and they kind of blasted into space, I like it would be dead, but it was still alive for a second. And I kind of hate when movies do that.
Hmm.
When it's like this thing should kill you, like you shouldn't still be alive right now. But they were
Yeah.
like, for the jump scare, we're gonna do this. And I'm like, baby girl, you were walking around with no shoes and a shirt. Like, I just need you to get it together. Like, I just felt like she was gonna die at any moment, which is
Yeah.
great storytelling. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, those are my favorite little.
Yeah, like that scene you mentioned with her like in the cryo pod giving birth or whatever
Hmm.
remind me of I saw a clip. It was used for the wrong reasons. It wasn't used to promote this movie. Was somebody was complaining about, these white guys complaining about some things.
Okay.
Um and it was Naomi Rapace in Covenant. Is it Covenant?
Is it
Covenant.
Prometheus?
No, it was her in Covenant, and
Oh.
she's like trying to cut the xenomorph out of her body as well. That
Ooh,
that and she's in a
I remember
she's
that.
in a chamber, and it reminded me of as a callback to that moment in that movie as well.
Yeah, and I like those little callback moments. That's what I'm saying. Like, you don't have to add the lines in. Like,
Yeah,
we
they can be
it
visual, like
it
visual
all feels
callbacks work.
familiar.
Yeah,
It all feels familiar.
yeah,
So, but yeah, I really enjoyed this movie, and I get the criticisms, and I totally take those on board. It's just that it's not in spite of, it's like along with those criticisms, I do think that this movie is like really good. And from one of those movies that are going to be a franchise movie, we have a bunch of them that's already come out.
hmm
We're going to have a whole bunch of them that's going to come out later this year.
yeah. Got a
I think
show on Hulu coming
a
out.
show.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they have a show. I think it's called Rebirth or something.
No, it's they said they released a title. It's going to be called Alien Earth.
Earth, that's what it's called. Yeah, Alien Earth. I might watch it. Um, I think that this is one of the better ones. This is like a good
Yeah.
like, okay, if we're gonna go back and do franchise stuff, like I think that this was like a nice new spin on like the world that we already know.
Yeah.
Were there some issues? Yes, but like
Yes.
overall,
I mean, I think this version of like I think this movie and well this franchise, the other two movies and then this movie, and with the Top Gun stuff, like these are very well executed reimaginings and reinvigorations of long standing IPs and properties, very much unlike the failure that was Independence Day 2. But if the movie is well written, characters are amazing, the visuals, like everything is top notch, it'll be well received. You just don't rush out an IP or a sequel to an IP just for a quick cash grab. And I think we're at the point now where Hollywood, am I a fan of, the sequel trilogy kind of thing with IPs? No, but when they're done well, I have no problems with it.
yeah, you can appreciate it when
Yeah, I
it's
can
done
appreciate.
well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and also when they're done well, it also shows that people involved love these franchises. Like this director, for this movie,
Hmm.
he had the script done for like I think he said 2020, and was like
Hmm.
talking with Ridley Scott and stuff like that about it. So it's clear there was actually care and attention done to this project.
Yeah,
So yeah.
definitely.
So moving on from that, on a somber note, we're sad to hear about the news of James Earl Jones's passing. Um, Star of like stage and screen, a veteran, like not just a black Hollywood icon, but a Hollywood icon in general. A theater icon, He passed away this morning, Monday, at the age of 93, in New York, with his family surrounding him, and yeah, and that's kind of sad to hear. I mean, not sad to hear that, because 93 years old is a what life well long lived, but the loss of an icon in this industry, is sad.
Yeah. His voice is like the voice of my childhood. He was
Yeah,
Mufasa.
it's Darth Vader, you
Yeah.
know, you
So
know.
he's been in our lives for such a long time.
Mhm.
So it's very sad. But yeah, 93, you lived a long life and he's accomplished so much. So I'm very grateful for his artistry, his work.
Like I think, most recently, I think people started comparing his role in Fences to Denzel's new version of it as well. But yeah, long, long career.
Mm. Okay, in other news, some festival news. Joaquin Phoenix dodged questions about why he left Todd Haynes' gay romance film. Um, we talked about this a few weeks ago when the news broke that Joaquin Phoenix was going to star in Todd Haynes' new movie. They were all set to film, and then about 5 days before principal photography started, he left the movie. So because the Joker Folio Do is coming out in like a few weeks.
Yeah,
Obviously, he's doing press for it, and they were at the Venice Film Festival, and I was waiting to see like what his response was going to be because I knew somebody was going to ask him the question.
of course.
Um, and he was like, "Well, all the creatives aren't here, so I can't. I feel like I can't speak to that question." It's
Oh,
like
but you're one of the creatives on this project. What do you mean, Joaquin?
I don't know. I don't know. Like the crazy thing is that like the movie they had to like cancel the whole thing. Like because they were like, well, we can't recast his role. He's the only reason that we're doing this. So it's just over. Like there's no recasting, there's no rebuilding. It's just done.
Yeah.
And so many people still have to get paid. So it's just like mm. And like he knows that he's gonna get thrown the question because he knows he has to do press for this movie. So it's
Yeah.
like the idea that you can't speak to it because everyone else isn't there to also speak to it at the same time is just like okay.
You seem oddly surprised that I don't know why his people, his um, didn't weren't aware that that question might ever happen. It just seems
Yeah,
odd to
like
me.
get a better answer or just answer the question. Like what happened? Because I'm also nosy and I want to know. Like
Yeah.
why would you do this? So I feel like someone else is gonna have to rephrase and ask him the question at a different spot in the press tour, and I'm sure that they will because like what's going on? This is wild.
Yeah.
Um, Thing like that. But and also in other like Venice news, like it seems like there are a couple of films that we could all kind of keep our eyes out for because they look like they're definitely going to be some Oscar contenders in there. So I'm sort of excited about it. I'll
Hmm.
see how I feel once they actually roll out. But right now, all I have to look forward to are like franchise movies. So I'm actually excited to see like some of these other movies coming out, like Queer and the movie that Angelina Jolie is doing. What's it called, Maria or something like that. So we'll see.
Yeah. In other news, Shailene Woodley, um, uh, her career like non-existent. But anyway, she defends her statement in regards to defending Donald Trump's assassination attempt. She said she thought the in an Instagram post, she said she thought the letter by Melania Trump was a beautiful message for human compassion. Um, she went on to say, "It's so beautiful. I was in the circles of people that I deeply respect, friends, colleagues, progressive, very intelligent, and goofers. And many of them were saying he missed, the fucking assassin missed. Maybe it's a setup, maybe it's a conspiracy." She went on to say, "I was going, have we not forgotten that two human lives were taken? Two people died. That's sad. That's devastating. I don't understand how people could speak something with such passion for death." Um, she is right. It is right. It's really odd to wish ill on people. But Trump also had that rhetoric for the past 4 years for people. And honestly, low key, I know Shailene Woodley, she is of native descent and she does work with native strategies, with native groups and stuff. But
Hmm.
beyond that, like since she's become involved with like Aaron Rodgers, she's been on some like real dumb shit. Like if I'm being blunt as hell. Like and I think also her stupidity and sorry, I think also her stupidity and whatever like couples influence each other. Let's be honest. However he's influenced her, her views, which are really out there on a lot of topics, have also negatively impacted her career as an actress. And I don't think she really realizes it. You know?
Mm.
So
Yeah, this popped up in my search for news stories,
yeah,
and being that the debate is tomorrow,
yeah,
I'm a little else is on my mind. But I think that yeah, her relationship with Aaron Rodgers is over now, but I think that relationship kind of unveiled some things about her that I think are it's giving like very like mommy blogger turned like right wing like
yeah,
I'm not saying that that's who she is. I'm saying that's what the energy she is giving like throughout the pandemic and everything. It was like, oh,
yeah.
oh. Mm.
Mm,
And yeah, I can definitely see like post Big Little Lies, like her career is it's a little bit of a mixed bag right now. But I think that I don't know. My feelings about it is like just don't post anything. Like you didn't need to retweet, repost, comment. You didn't actually need to say anything,
yeah,
even if those are your views. I mean, like, yes, should we be rooting for people to die? No. But and I am gonna put a but here, and y'all can come for me if you want to, fine. I do feel like there are certain people who have a lot of influence and power who are negatively affecting and sometimes even by their rhetoric
yeah,
claiming other people's lives
yeah,
just by being in existence. And if they weren't there, then things probably wouldn't be necessarily better, but at
Yeah.
least it wouldn't be supercharged in the way that it is right now. And I'm
Hmm.
not saying death. What I'm saying is don't be in power. Like, and
Yeah.
also like he needs to be in prison. So like I'm not gonna lie, when that stuff went down, I'm not saying I was rooting for it. I'm just saying that I might have grinned.
I mean, I'm not gonna say I was happy it happened, and I'm
I'm
happy.
not
Like,
saying I was happy that it happened. I'm
yeah.
just saying that it happened and I had a reaction.
I mean, I thought, that altercation would lead to proper discussions on like gun control and gun violence, which is ironic because, a couple of days ago, we had a school shooting here in Georgia.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, the Republicans and the leading Republican candidate would say, oh, I almost died because of our flimsy gun control laws. We need to do something about it.
No.
Nothing happened after that. Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
and like you said,
Because
there are people in power who are using horrible rhetoric to affect
Mhm.
people. Like a couple of days ago, a young boy lost his life in a car accident, you know, and now you have Ted Cruz tweeting on Twitter saying you can't shouldn't vote for a Kamala because Haitian immigrants will now eat cats because they're claiming the guy that, the other driver of the car who hit that family, he was an immigrant, which he's not. But those are kind of things. Like one thing
yeah.
happens and they go to the extreme racial point of view. So you can't be mad when some people are championing for the death of somebody else when those same groups of people are championing for the deaths of other people as well. So
Yeah. And like she was like, he's a grandfather and he's a father. And it's like, he doesn't care about anyone else's kids though.
yeah,
Like if it was you, Shailene, like, and if something happened to you, he wouldn't bat an eye. Like, it's just, so I think let's just be compassionate, love and peace. Like, let's have a peace circle and just like, that doesn't make any sense to me. To me, that's a very out of touch and like unrealistic, naive way of looking at things,
yeah,
which is weird because it's like, Shailene, like, you are an activist. Like you're actively like trying to like stop people from fracking. Like I just feel like it's weird. Like
yeah,
it's a weird position to take and to take so publicly doesn't make any sense to me, especially now. Like I'm sorry. Like if I were you, I wouldn't say a single thing
yeah.
about Donald Trump.
Look, and I have no problems with celebrities not commenting on stuff like this.
Yeah, just don't say
Yes,
anything.
it might feel weird, like, oh, I want, like, oh, people say Beyonce needs to say something. Beyonce should,
Mm,
but I also think if you're a celebrity, use your money, use your influence, and you could support stuff behind the scene nobody could know. Like, if you're doing that, I'm fine with it. Not everything has to be vocal and upfront and to be seen. I feel like that's what a lot of celebrities do with these kind of posts and comments. Like, oh, I have to show everybody, like, as part of my brand, everybody has to know what I'm doing in my beliefs and stuff like that.
yeah. And it's
So,
like, this is the hill you want to die on? That seems weird.
yeah. So,
Like, so anyways, but yeah, that happened.
so beyond that, onto is it contentious news? I don't think it's contentious news. So apparently, this coming Super Bowl, we're not getting a round two. Um, According to Kendrick Lamar, you only get one round to declare a champion, and with him getting the Super Bowl, it seems like he's won this round against Drake or the battle in general. We've had rumors from, of course, as usual, talking head people talking about how, Drake's probably sending letters to the NFL and going to sue them. And that's from Charlamagne the God. You have Nicki Minaj and Birdman complaining about the fact that it's in New Orleans and, Lil Wayne is not performing. Atlanta got like a rock band, bro. We didn't get like Outkast or Travis Scott or anything, so y'all will be good. Like Miami might have got like J Lo, which has really no ties to Miami being on beyond being Puerto Rican, and
Right.
Shakira, one of the biggest side stars in the world. We ain't get nobody from Miami either. So you know what? You're gonna be okay.
You're gonna be
You're
okay.
gonna be okay. No,
I'm
yeah,
excited for this. I don't care what nobody says.
I'm
Like
excited for it.
I'm ready.
Yeah,
I'm ready sat. Ice peels ready to go.
yeah.
Like this to me is just so wonderfully wonderful. I don't even know how else to phrase it. Just like
Hmm.
the fact that like everything that went down this year. between Kendrick and Drake. But also the fact that like I think Mr. Morale came out, was it 2022? Like it didn't even come out last year. Came out the year before that, I think.
Yeah.
Like Kendrick is very like not in your face. Like
No.
he will make an album and then you will not see him for a couple of years. And I felt like the fact that he is still so relevant and like the fact that he can come out from hiding essentially, drop a couple of tracks, change and shift the culture, and then get the spot to, be the headliner at the Super Bowl. Like, that's just a testament to his just, I don't even know what it is. Like, I don't know what to call that,
Yeah.
but I love it.
And
I
and
love it.
I think of course Jay-Z has been involved with NFL with as far as the halftime shows and whatnot.
Oh yeah, that's
But
true.
I think what also helped in this decision was, of course, the pop out, the
Oh, yes.
Ken and Friends concert that was streamed.
Hmm.
Um, Honestly, mostly for the most part, it was a one man show, very minimalistic, but it was really long, and it showed that he can. It showed to a wide group of American people who don't really watch Kendrick have seen his concerts that he has the ability to maintain a stage and crowd
He
entry
does.
by himself for long times. Like you've seen a lot of with these Super Bowl performances, it's usually the artist and a large quadri of stuff. And my response is if Kendrick can put that kind of performance on by himself, engaging the audience, just think what he'll do at a big whole Super Bowl production, So
And the thing is that like I watched his concert and I think they filmed it for Amazon.
yeah,
Wonderful.
yeah,
And it's not, it's like him and a couple of background dancers. Like it's so
minimal.
good,
Yeah,
very minimal, which means that he's going to be able to do this really well
yeah,
because a lot of times if you're not like a strong enough act, you'll get a lot of guests to come on just to
yeah,
kind of fill those spaces, or you'll pull like a weekend and just do it yourself. But yeah, that was an interesting one. So like I'm super excited. I hope he does bring out guests though. I feel like that always adds a little extra something fun.
yeah.
Beyonce if you want to show up. Like, I mean, I don't know if she will, but that would be really cool if she
Uh,
did.
the moment, like,
Yeah.
if I hear that the intro to Meet the Grams, oh, ooh, ooh, but yeah. See, that's the thing for like a Beyonce Super Bowl. This is like for a lot of women, Beyonce Super Bowl. That was their moment. For Kendrick, being on screen. This is my Beyonce moment. Watching
No,
Super
no,
Bowl
this is
halftime.
equally like I
Yeah,
am equally as excited
yeah,
as I would have been for Beyonce, by the
yeah,
way. Like I'm equally excited.
yeah,
Like I want him to stand on the stage and just let everyone sing or rap, not like us, just in the stadium.
yeah,
Like just silent, like cut all the music, just let everybody else in the stadium do it.
yeah,
I hope that happens. Oh
yeah.
my God, fingers crossed.
So
Anyways, yes. So that's exciting.
yeah.
Also, speaking of Beyonce, she was completely snubbed by the Country Music Awards
Hmm.
for her Cowboy Carter album.
Hmm.
And it's so interesting to me this just because like she made that album in response to what happened at the country was it at the Country Music Awards or the fact that she sang with the Dixie Chicks
Her and the
and they had
Dixie
an
Chicks.
issue with
Yeah,
her doing that.
yeah. That
People were like
song.
upset.
Yeah, I think it was. They were mad that she performed with Dixie Chicks, and
Yes.
also the fact that that song was also not nominated for a Grammy as
Right.
well. So
And it's like full circle, still mess. Like I can't believe, like it's not like I can't believe the country music awards to do that.
really,
Like
I'm
it
not
makes
surprised.
it makes sense. It is ironic though that like they're just like, no, we're not gonna nominate her for anything. Cause I don't know. I guess they just got beef. Like they're just like,
Yeah,
well, we don't like her and
I
she don't like
mean,
us. So
it just proves her point. She's like, all right, cool.
right, it just proves her point.
I'm gonna go out and make a country album with that also has um what's what I'm looking for. That is also acknowledged by country music icons. You got Willie Nelson, Dolly Parton on that thing.
Yeah.
With their seal of
Hmm.
approval, she's
Yes.
performing Jolene. Willie Nelson's like is your radio DJ host talking between albums. She got fucking Miley Cyrus like a
Oh,
duet with her,
icon.
you
Yeah.
know? So, she's like, okay, I'm gonna make a country album. I'm gonna satisfy what you want. One of the best albums of the year.
Hmm.
And let's see what happens. And I also saw a lot of other country albums this year, like a lot of them. And let's see what happens. So now you cannot say they're gonna say, "Oh, but we have other black country artists nominated," but you cannot say that there isn't a bit of an issue as to why Beyonce is not up there. They're gonna say she's not actually a country artist. she made a country album. I never knew the rules had to be that you have to be a country artist.
Right.
But I do think this is something us as Black hip hop R&B community, our
Mm.
music circles need to follow because from this point on, I better not see another nomination for fucking Macklemore, Post Malone's country fake ass. Sadly, I'm not that much of a fucking Eminem fan anymore. He better not be up there for anything either. If we're gonna play these games and these rules, like okay, a black country album. All right, cool. We can get all these white rappers and white R&B singers off of here for our
Yeah,
award
and I
shows.
think Post Malone was nominated for something
Yeah,
actually for his
yeah,
crossover he did. And it's just like what I would like to happen, especially in the music industry, because this is very prevalent where like these major award shows just like skipping over people who are like obvious nominees
yeah,
who have like the biggest records and albums of the year. I kind of want us to like not care about these award shows anymore. Like I
yeah,
really feel like if we can take a step to just move away from like seeking the award shows validation, I feel like we'll be in a better place.
yeah,
Because at the end of the day, like these awards don't equal like they don't they don't equate how good your album is or the impact that your album has made.
yeah,
Because if it was reflective of that, then you would have been nominated.
yeah,
So like obviously it isn't. So I just don't want these award shows to have that much credibility. And I feel like when The Weeknd didn't go to the Grammys, like that was a turning point, sort of we were just like, oh yeah, well, that doesn't make sense. Like obviously these award shows are mad weird and
yeah.
whack. And hopefully in this one, when it comes to the CMAs and Cowboy Carter and Beyonce, like I just hope that like her album was a testament to be like, well, this is why these things don't matter because my album still did great. It still moved culture. Like I'm still that girl. Like I didn't even need to do much. I don't think she dropped a music video for
No,
that entire album. She
no,
just made it.
yeah.
So like I hope we shift away from that or create our own.
Look,
However you want to dice it up.
I'm gonna foresee something. In about 3 years, when she goes on tour for this album,
Hmm.
you're gonna see a lot of these white girls in full like cowboy regalia singing
Yep.
Beyonce songs once
Hmm.
that tour shows up.
Oh,
Like once
absolutely.
those Atlanta dates are announced, once those Nashville dates are announced, once those fucking Kansas City dates are out announced, potentially maybe if she does a show in Alabama, probably not because she'll do it in Atlanta. But once those dates are announced, or in Houston and Texas, all those white girls are gonna show up with their Beyonce stuff. You're gonna see a lot of Beyonce TikToks once that tour is announced from these white girls. So
Yeah. So, anyways,
yeah,
Queen Bee, you still reign. That's it.
yeah.
All right. So let's talk about what we've been watching.
I've recently I watched over the weekend Rebel Ridge. Um, Wonderful fucking movie, man. Starring of course Aaron Pierre, who we've know, which is kind of ironic. We are talking about James Earl Jones passing earlier. He's voicing Mufasa in the upcoming live action Lion King remake or
Mm-mm.
whatever.
Mm-mm.
Um, but yeah, we saw him in Foe.
Yes, we
Um,
did.
but yeah,
He was also an
amazing.
old,
And old,
that
yeah.
not bad movie, but
He
he was
was
great.
yeah. But yeah, amazing performance and portrayal. It reminds me, it's one of those movies that reminds me of seminal, a seminal 90s movie, action movie. When you're developing action stars, it it reminds me very much of like Rambo, a war
Mm.
veteran going to war against a corrupt police station or police group. It reminds me very much of the Rock prior to his massive success doing like Walking Tall and stuff like that. It reminds me of those veins, and he puts on an amazing performance. Like, and if you look online now, of course, they're talking about a lot of upcoming DC movies. And since this movie has come out, the overall whelming favorite to play Jon Stewart, who you're not familiar, is like the Black Green Lantern. Um,
Oh, I
like
never
he
had
is
that.
like everybody's after watching this movie, he's like, oh, everyone's like, oh, he has blame in the movie. James Gunn, like everybody's like adding James Gunn, oh, Jason Pierre, I mean Aaron Pierre, so but yeah. And plus, for me, he's like mad Caribbean. He's got like Jamaican Sierra and Sierra Leone. So, big up the massive right there. But um, but yeah, I'm loving it. Well, I loved it. So yeah.
That's good. Yeah, I saw that on Netflix, so she could go and
Yeah.
watch. Um, I started The Boy and the Heron because it's on in HBO. Thank you for that. So far, I am really enjoying it.
Yeah.
My friends watched it and they were like, we didn't like it. We were confused. I think one of them fell asleep.
Mhm.
So I was like, oh, is it really not good? Like, I thought it was so good. And like, people, it was, nominated for all these awards. So maybe, but I think their taste in film are just different. But like, so far, I am enjoying it.
Yeah.
I really like it. I have the English one. So like, I can hear all of the, they're not all English, but all of the Western characters, actors do their speaking roles, which is really fun. Because I was like, I want to hear Rob Pattinson, I want to hear Florence Pugh, I want to hear Willem Dafoe. So like, that's been really interesting, and it's just giving me Spirited Away, like
Mhm.
that, like wonderment and like I don't know, the world that they create is just so interesting. Like it's beautiful to look at and very emotional. Like actually, I'm more emotionally connected to this one than I was in Spirited Away.
Mm.
So I'm excited to see where it goes. But yeah.
Yeah, I think like the biggest like of course Ghibli projects in general always do amazing. Um but I think this is like the first one where most of the time they get Western voice actors for a
Mhm.
lot of time, and they're when localizing for the States, they just hire big name actors, and these actors kind of just like, this is my speaking voice kind of thing for some of these
Mhm.
movies. But like the major press I saw from this was like, oh, Robert Pattinson's going like hard. He is like super hamming it up, and he's really involved with the role of the performance. So
I haven't gotten to his character yet, so
mm,
I'm like so excited to hear it. I'm so excited. But like Florence Pugh is going ham, Christian Bale is going ham, Willem Dafoe is going ham. Like
yeah,
they're all in their bag.
yeah,
So I can understand what they're talking about because right now it's not like anyone's speaking voice really. It's like, and also which is interesting because when the character Christian Bale plays, I actually couldn't place who it was at first because he never uses his actual speaking voice in any of his movies.
yeah.
Like, so you don't even sometimes know or remember what his speaking voice is. And I feel like now that he is speaking in his like English, like he must be from like, I don't know which area of London, but like,
Mm,
it's so thick.
yeah,
I was like, oh my God, I forgot that this is his actual voice.
yeah.
Like he's not American. So like, yeah, I'm really enjoying it, honestly. Like it's giving me life. So can't wait to finish that. And yeah, that is it from us this week. We hope that you're all doing well and taking care of yourselves. Make sure to check out all of our social media, support us if you can, and we will see you guys in the next episode. Goodbye.
Au revoir.